Hello everyone, how are you guys today? Joe Perez from Flipping Unleashed, and today we're going to talk about rehabbing. And no, I don't mean something you go and do when you're doing too many drugs. I'm talking about actually remodeling homes in the real estate industry, all right? So there's my corny joke for the day. So listen, no matter what you do in this business, you're professional, intermediate, novice, just getting started in the industry, one thing that is going to be very much part of who you are is remodeling, okay? And so today I want to talk a little bit about some of the rules on remodeling and some of the cool things for you to know. First, I want to teach you guys there's a difference between remodeling and repairing. So let's talk a little bit about that. First, repairing, okay? Now, if you buy a property, you're going to buy a property for one of two reasons. Either you're going to flip the property or you're going to rent it, okay? If you flip the property, one of the things that's going to dictate the work you do is you got to make that home safe and you got to repair it correctly. And what do I mean by that? Well, listen, if you're doing your repairs on a home, you have to make sure that you do those correctly and you don't skip them, because you're going to sell that home to someone else. And that buyer is going to come in and he's going to get financing. He or she is going to get financing, right? And one of the things that buyer is going to do is they're going to hire a professional home inspector. These are people that, for example, in Southern California, they cost anywhere from like $300 to $350. They come to your home for like 3 or 4 hours and they inspect the hell out of everything you do. So guess what? If you try to do crappy work, you try to hide that repair and you say skip it, it's not in the budget or whatever, guess what happens? They crawl underneath the homes, they get on the roof, everywhere. They're gonna find it. They're gonna find it, they're gonna see it, and you're gonna have a buyer now that's gonna have a bad taste in their mouth. Just like a renter. If you're not planning on flipping the home, you say, well, Joe, I'm not really planning on flipping the home, I'm gonna keep it. Same thing's gonna happen. That renter, if you don't do the proper repairs that need to be done, that renter is gonna be in a situation, and you are, where they're gonna call you all the time. They're gonna bug you for repairs, and things aren't gonna go too well. You're gonna get a renter who's gonna be frustrated. They're gonna question the caliber of the work was done. Just like if you're flipping the home. If there's way too many repairs, way too many issues that have to be done, that buyer's not gonna be too happy. And before you know it, that buyer's gonna begin to question the caliber of the work done, and they might just decide, you know what, I don't wanna do this deal, okay? So for those two reasons, at minimum those two reasons, always do your repairs. Rule number one is do the repairs. Repairs are things that are like have to be done, safety issue, things that are common sense, things that have to be worked, as opposed to things that you're upgrading or beautifying. That's the difference between remodeling. So let's talk about real estate litigation. What does that mean? Lawsuits. All day and all night, there's all kinds of lawsuits regarding defects in repairs. It means that one or two things happen. Either you did the work or you didn't and you didn't do it right, or you tried to hide it. Either one's gonna cost you. Why? Because as I mentioned earlier, a home inspector is gonna find it. They're gonna find it, you're gonna leave a bad taste in your buyer. And let's say the home inspector doesn't find it. Well, then you know who's probably gonna find it? The homeowner. And the homeowner might find it 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now. And depending on the significance of the defect and if it causes any economic injury or physical injuries or whatever, right? They can sue you for it. So you really don't wanna deal with that kind of issue. Remember, in this business, it's not just how much money you make, like any other business in life, but it's how much you keep. You want to make it and you want to keep it. So don't try to hide defects, don't try to like ignore them. Actually address them. Address them head on, fix them, or if you find yourself in a situation where these defects were too great, you didn't calculate, you say, hey Joe, I didn't know it was going to be that much. This is way too much. And honestly, Joe, it's not in my budget to fix all this. Then fine, this is what you do. If you decide that it's just not worth it for you, you decide what you do want to do and figure out how much you're going to be able to sell the home for. And then if you don't fix those things, disclose it to the buyer. To your back-end buyer, disclose to them. Hey, you know what? You're buying the home as is. The home has these particular defects, and make them acknowledge that you are selling the home to them at a discount for that reason, and make them acknowledge in writing. So later on, there's no issues or whatever, then you're okay. That's the only time I would advise you're okay not repairing defects, especially like repair, like safety issues, okay? So that's really good advice. Keep that in mind when you're out there and you're counting dollars one day and you're like, I want to make this money on this deal, and if I don't fix that, I can make this much. Just remember that many times those kind of things, they don't go away. The things that you don't fix don't go away because that defect is always there. So make the right decision up front. Okay, then as far as actually remodeling now, okay? So we talk a little bit about within the world of remodeling, we talked about repairs, okay? Those should always, in my opinion, be factored into your equation. Now let's talk about remodeling. You say, well, how much should I do this? You know, the other day I was watching a video of somebody you guys probably know on YouTube, and it really struck me. The guy was talking about what a pain in the ass this job was and how difficult it was. And I'm like, okay, he goes, it was a major rehab and I put a ton of money, and I'm thinking, okay. And then he's like, it cost me 20 grand. And I'm like, 20 grand? I'm like, man, okay, that's how much we spend on kitchens sometimes out here, you know? And then it got me to thinking that all markets are different and everywhere's different. So you guys need to establish like a baseline, like, hey, how much should I put into my homes? How much shouldn't I put into the homes? You know, I'm in Southern California. Real estate out here is ridiculously expensive. It might not be the same for in some suburb of Idaho or something, and you know? So you want to take it relative. So what's the general rule? The general rule is let the market, let the comparable sales dictate to you what kind of work you should do, okay? So for example, if I'm in a neighborhood where all the homes in that neighborhood are all selling from 100,000 to 115,000, right? I'm not gonna do much rehab from there. Why? Because the sales are showing me that in that particular neighborhood, homes that are greatly fixed up and under fixed up seem to be all encapsulated more or less in that $100,000 to $150,000 price range. So I think in that one, it would properly dictate to not do a major rehab, do a very simplified rehab. But don't forget also too, the basic rule is that people buy emotionally, not logically, they buy emotionally. Okay, and the more you rehab a property, the more perceived value. Okay, so keep that in mind also. That's the kind of value, right? People will increase the value if they see that. Now there's a flip side. What if you're in a neighborhood where the home sale price, like in Southern California, all over the place? You know, one of the things you're going to find about Southern California that I really like is that you can have two identical homes. One is $350,000 and the other one is $600,000. And the homes are the same more or less as far as the year built, the style of construction, the size of the home, the size of the lot, right? And you're thinking to yourself, well, why the big difference? Because out here in many neighborhoods, people will reward you if you do a really good job remodeling the home. A buyer, a high-end buyer would be like, you know what, honey, I love this home. It's correctly done. It's fixed up real nice. And you could have two homes side by side, they're like identical, and one sells for like 50, 60% more than another. And that's the reason why. So if you're in that kind of neighborhood, go ahead and budget for more. Go ahead and budget for more and go ahead and spend more because you're gonna get it back. And let me tell you something, me personally, I love extensive rehabs. Those are the best deals I've ever gotten, are extensive rehabs. For two reasons. One, when it's an extensive rehab, I mean, the home is ugly in every sense of the word, in every sense of the way. I mean, when you could take like my dog's butt and hold it up to the camera and hold a picture of this house and you don't know which one's better looking, well, I want that deal. And part of the reason why, and once again, my dry humor, I gotta work on that. I want that house. And the reason why I want that house is it's less competitive. Not everybody and their mom wants to buy that home. Most people don't have like the desire to want to do an extensive rehab. I do, so I end up getting a good price on it. And the second reason is I end up getting a really good buyer. I get a buyer who's like, wow, when you tell them new electrical, new plumbing, you know, foundation retrofitted, new HVAC system, new roof, and you know, new flooring, and you know, did this some new framing on the house and knocked down some walls and made it big. People can see that and they're like, wow, especially when you can show them all the permits. That's major perceived value, and those kind of homes I sell very quickly and I do very well because I'll get some high-end buyer who just be like, hey, you know what? I want this home, let's do it. And they'll come in at full price or even higher. And you know, an idea too, I want you guys to factor into your equation is time. One thing about time that we always know is time is money. When you're into a deal, I don't just want you to let profit dictate what to do or not to do, because That's important. For sure, profit is important. But there's another factor that plays very much in the profit, and that's also time, right? And time means, you know, in this business, you spend money to buy the home. You spend, you know, most of the times, even though I can show you guys ways to not put any money up front, but when you get to my point, I don't really need to borrow money or work any fancy stuff. A lot of times I got some of my money that I put in. I spend money on the rehab. I spend, you know, money afterwards, purchase the home, to rehab it. Then I'm just kind of sitting. I got all this money wrapped up in the property, and I'm just kind of sitting, waiting for it to sell, you know? And there's something to be said that the sooner I can sell that home and get my money out and go out and buy another home, well then, hey, you know what? That's turning your money, turning, always making money on that. So time is awesome for you to consider. So when you find these homes where, you know, everything is clustered in the same price, you know, all the homes are 100, 115,000, and you're thinking, oh man, you know, I don't know if I should fix it or not fix it. One of the things that I want you to look at in those smaller, tighter ranges, I want you to look at if the home, I want you to ask yourself and look at the comparable sales. And the comparable sales, I want you to look at how fast things are selling. So that way you can ask yourself the question, do I just, you know what, turn and burn this one, not do much of the repairs on it and sell it at a discount real quick, sell it for the low end, 100,000, or do maybe I put a few bucks in here, maybe put 5,000, whatever, and sell it to 115,000? Because time is also a factor. And sometimes on these deals, me personally, I can tell you, I can't remember the last time I didn't do a lot of work on a property or some significant work. But that's also because of the neighborhood that I'm in, Southern California. I find that most of those homes, I can get away with always fixing it and increasing the value of the home. So, final analysis. What's the final verdict on remodeling? One, well, it's actually two things. One, let the market, let the comparable sales. It means take a look at all the sales in that neighborhood, say in like the last 6 months, and really look at them. And it's all public record. You can get on Zillow, you can get on Realtor.com, all kinds of websites, and see what's selling in that neighborhood, how long it's been on the market, what it's selling for. And you look at the pictures. Look at the pictures, see what kind of work was done, and read the comments. It's really important to read the comments because the comments will tell you. Look for words like remodeled or new this, new that, new this, new copper, you know, new electrical, new copper plumbing, new HVAC, new roof, new flooring, new kitchen cabinets, new stainless steel appliances, all that. Look for all those keywords and let that determine what kind of work you're gonna do and come up with a formula for how much work to do to command the highest value for your home, okay? And then number two, always be safe. Always take in consideration safety. If you find something wrong and the contractor, because he's afraid you're gonna be out of budget or whatever, and he wants you to roll the dice because he didn't budget for it, let's just leave it here. No one's gonna notice it. You know what? It's not his ass on the line if you get sued, or it might be his ass on the line, but the problem is that you're the investor, you're the owner, you're definitely gonna get sued. So you need to be smart. If in doubt, I'd always say, check it out and fix it if it's a safety issue. Okay, you guys, listen, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Once again, please subscribe and like the video so I can keep giving you guys more of this great content. And at the end of the videos, click right here and you're gonna see all my cool videos from before that are very informative. And if you can put up with my dry personality, I promise I'll make you guys really good.